Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great Friday, or should I say, a great Brock Friday. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. And before I get started, I want to send a less than 30-second awareness. If you have not already, be sure to do your two-step processing. I noticed a lot of you, thank you to whoever the 47th subscriber is, thank you. But I noticed a lot of you, some of you watching this are YouTubers in your own right. And I want to encourage you to take that two-step processing that will start by December the 7th. If you haven't already, do that because we got a lot of hackers going on, people hacking into stuff and things of that nature. So make sure you protect your secret identity like Batman. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Thank you guys for your subscriptions. Thank you guys for liking and watching what I did with Edge and Miz. And of course, thank you for watching my views on Christian's birthday and my top 10 countdowns of his best matches, as well as my thoughts on Andrade versus Cody Rhodes. Thank you guys for that. I forgot to mention the intense start and the fact that T-Pain was there and got a better ovation than Cody Rhodes. So I don't know why people don't like Cody, but either way, let's get down to business. Friday, Brock Friday, tonight on Friday Night Smackdown from San Antonio, Texas, opened up with Brock Lesnar, but we'll get to that later. The first match of the evening was Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler. I will say this. I miss how they used to do the Shayna Baszler entrance when they would show Baszler coming to the ring from the backstage area, just like Goldberg did. I miss when they used to do that. They need to bring that back. But either way, it was a pretty interesting match. I would say a bit 3 stars maybe. But the ending was very interesting when they traded submission holds. Shayna being great submission specialist and a bone breaker. But either way, Shayna and Sasha, my crush, went and had a pretty good showing, 3 stars. They traded submissions near the end, but it was the move of the year, the roll-up that would get Sasha the victory. So congrats to Sasha Banks, the boss. Next on this list, we have Happy Talk with Happy Corbin and, of course, Madcap Moss, aka Joker's former assistant or former stooge. But either way, this is just a really dumb angle. This happy angle, I'm sorry, it's just dumb. It's ridiculous. Corbin was, from a scripted standpoint, Corbin, like MJF from AEW, is just good at being unpopular. But this is not Corbin being good at being unpopular. This is just Corbin being absolutely terrible. It's just terrible. And the jokes are just horrible. Come on. The Scottish Warrior, that was obvious. And then you have the Swanton Mom. I almost snored. This is ridiculous. This. You might as well, you could bring Keith Lee, who else got released? Bronson Reed is in TNA or Impact Wrestling, but Keith Lee, Mia Yim and them got their own channel now, so they can be successful still. But seriously, it's a couple of people I could trade for those two. This is ridiculous. And on top of that, Corbin came out looking like a tiger printed version of the attire that Jim Carrey wore on the first Dumb and Dumber. That's what I'm going to call these guys now. Dumb and Dumber. Because this angle is absolutely ridiculous. The whole time. I'm going to start a new chant. And that chant is going to be this. Every time Corbin comes out looking like Dumb and Dumber, the printed version, and y'all start telling ridiculous jokes, this is what we're going to start chanting from now on. This is stupid. This is stupid. This is stupid. It was just, and I'm sorry, I don't usually like to use that word. I know it's not a nice word to say, but that angle is just ridiculous. But thankfully, Drew McIntyre did not come to bring peace, but a sword of fire. And he came with his gigantic sword, and Jeff Hardy swanton bombed, not mom, swanton bombed Matt Cap Moss, aka Joker's assistant. I see why the Joker fired him, because his jokes are lame from a scripted standpoint. Moving on, a couple of short things happened tonight. I'm very excited to see Xia Li next week in Los Angeles, California. SmackDown will be there. I'm also interested in why we got these short matches. I'm sorry, not matches. Matches. Raiders, the Viking Raiders versus Humberto and Angel Garza. That was a very short match because Rick Boogs tried to distract the pretty boys with the guitar, and it actually worked against them. But thankfully, the guitar was able to calm the Viking Raiders, and they went to dancing as Rick Boogs played the theme for the Viking Raiders. So, fun fact: the Viking Raiders and Brock Lesnar are both from Minneapolis. Viking Raiders and Brock Lesnar, those guys should have a six-man tag match sometime in Minneapolis. That would be great to see. Three hometown guys. Moving on to another short match, we have scriptingly Jay Uso and King Woods were set to face off tonight. And the fun fact, if you notice, some of you are seeing Jimmy Uso and Jay Uso with the red attire for the first time. For those of you who, most of you probably do keep up with social media, but for those of you who haven't, fun fact, the Bloodline debuted their red attire, their red Bloodline t-shirt attire on Monday Night Raw in a dark match after Raw went off the air. Fun fact. Right after Seth Rollins ended the show, throwing his tantrum like Christian did at WrestleMania 18. So, the Usos came out. It was supposed to be Jay versus King Woods. King Woods had a surprise. When he said the word surprise, I knew Kofi Kingston was coming back, and Kofi did come back to accompany King Woods. And the match would be short because Jimmy Uso interfered from the outside and gave Pat McAfee a high five. But chaos and turmoil happened. However, New Day is standing tall and Kofi Kingston is at 100%. And as reported during an interview with the lovely Lady Kayla, I think that's what her new name is, the lovely Lady Kayla interviewed the New Day, and it was at that moment where the news was broke out that we're going to renew a very legendary rivalry of last decade, the Usos versus the New Day at Day One in my former hometown of Atlanta, the same hometown that booed Cody Rhodes for whatever reason. And guys, if you don't know, I understand, but somebody tell me, is Darby Allin from Atlanta? I don't know. But either way, it's going to be in Atlanta, Day One, New Year's Day. Usos and the New Day, another chapter in a legendary rivalry. I love watching those two. They had a great rivalry together. And before we get to big news, we got some short, interesting things going on. A few build up between Charlotte and Toni Storm. First of all, I'm glad to see somewhat that Toni Storm is being used in a main event women's picture because let's be honest, she has been champion in UK, and of course, let's not forget, she was also part of NXT, and she was used way better than she was when she came to SmackDown, much to Mick Foley's point. However, thankfully, they're trying to book her and build her up to be in a match with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte denied. Nice shoes, by the way, Charlotte. Um, Either way, Charlotte denied. And put pie in Tony's face last week. Tony Storm returned the favor by pie facing Charlotte Flair this week. I really hope they put Charlotte Flair and Tony Storm in a match at day one. And I hope they make that match, they book it to be good so that Tony can still be as good as she was in NXT, because a lot of times when they leave UK or the NXT American brand and come to SmackDown or Raw, they're not taken as seriously anymore, or they're not treated as good as they were as far as booking is concerned. So let's get to another match that was kind of short. It was short, but very, very physical. We have Sheamus versus Cesaro, two tag team members known as The Bar many years back, a few years back, should I say, not too long ago. It was a very physical match. Sheamus didn't finish the 10 beats because he's a heel. And when you're a heel, you never give the people what they want. You do everything you can to make them boo you. And that's what he did. It was a physical match, and Sheamus talked trash, saying that Ridge Holland is better 10 times than Cesaro. Cesaro comes back, "You were like a brother to me," and they fight it on. But it was a brogue kick that would make this short but very physical match, and Sheamus being the victor. Earlier tonight now we get to the main event portion. Earlier tonight we saw Brock Lesnar make his return in San Antonio, Texas, home of Shawn Michaels. And of course, speaking of Shawn Michaels, glad to see his best friend Triple H getting well. But tonight we opened up the show. Brock Lesnar comes out, and usually we don't see Brock talk a lot, especially because Paul Heyman used to do all the talking for him. And Brock is not much for talking. He's just for taking people to Suplex City where he is mayor. So he comes out, he says, "Hey, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. I want to be champion again." And Adam Pearce, ironically, was not here tonight, which is a wise move, because if he was, he would have split his pants again. And that's if Drew McIntyre and his sword doesn't split all of Pat McAfee into pieces like Nebuchadnezzar used to threaten people to do in the biblical days. So Adam has two angry men after him, Drew and Brock. Those are not two men you want angry at you. But either way, Brock opens the show, and Sami Zayn unwisely interrupts him. And of course, Brock Lesnar convinces Sami to do the main event match tonight. Sami's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Sami, you're doing the match tonight. It's kind of like when your parents say, "But Dad, I don't, Dad or Mom, I don't," and they give you that look like, "Clean your room." It's just stuff like that. But Brock used his strength, his size, and his attitude to intimidate Sami into accepting the match. Not to mention, like Shayna, he kind of twisted Sami's wrist a little bit. So we have Sami Zayn was scared into accepting the match. So later on, it was Sami Zayn and Brock Lesnar. Sami came out and disrespected the city of San Antonio and the state of Texas. Brock comes out, and Sami does a bit of sucking up, and then sarcasm would end up taking him to Suplex City in an F5. And Roman Reigns didn't even have to work hard tonight. Roman just really had the night off. It was just like Roman was on vacation tonight, basically, because he just came out, speared him, guillotined him, and wins the match in 5 seconds. Definitely less than 10, but it was very short. Just a very short match. And let's be honest, we all know that if Brock did not destroy Sammy in the beginning, Roman would have took his time and destroyed him very quickly. So either way, Sammy would have lost because let's be honest. Roman, I'm going to say something else. Roman would have squashed Sami Zayn without Brock Lesnar's help. Let's be honest. I like to say squash because that other word that Roman likes to say is just weird to me. It just really is. But either way, Roman would have destroyed Sami Zayn either way. Good news is we get to see a rematch between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at day one in my former hometown of Atlanta. Another thing I'm very excited to see is Naomi finally please kick Sonya's butt. Please, 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 please make Sonya glow in pain next week. Please. Just please. Please. And split her pants open too, like Brock did. That would be fun. But of course, we got to end this now. What do you think of tonight's event? Roman Reigns, the GOAT, and the Hot, HOTT, because he's the head of the table. That is my new initials. What do you think of tonight's What do you think about tonight's episode of SmackDown? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is the Danny Show. This is all the time I have for you today. Have a great weekend. Everybody have a great Brock Friday. See you soon. Stay safe. And don't forget to do the two-step process to protect your identity from the hackers who want to steal Batman's secret identity. Have a good weekend, folks.